Hey, y'all, it's Juanita Coley, the founder of Solid Rock Consulting, where we help call centers implement technology, optimize the technology that they currently have in place, and build better workforce management teams. I want to welcome you to Call Center Chronicles. Call Center Chronicles is a place for CEOs, call center professionals, tech leaders, and yes, the customer, looking to have fun yet thought-provoking conversations around how we improve customer experiences and companies' bottom line. We are on a mission to normalize women in tech and workforce management leadership roles, and we believe that that starts with conversation. Welcome to Call Center Chronicles. Hey guys, it's your girl Juanita Coley, the Contact Center Whisperer, the CEO and founder of Solid Rock Consulting. We are a workforce management consulting firm that helps organizations with their workforce management teams, develop workforce management teams, as well as manage services for workforce management. So we are on our season 6. We're in season 6 of Call Center Chronicles. And I am super excited about this episode. You'll see why in a moment. But I'm super excited about this episode. Season 6 is dedicated to what I call the accelerator factors. And accelerator, when I'm thinking about contact center and I'm thinking about the industry, because I think about contact center as an industry. You heard me say that on last week's show about many times when we're in contact center, we're referring to the industry that we're serving. So when people say, oh, what industry are you in? You say, oh, I'm in hospitality, or I'm in healthcare, I'm in finance. And that's the industry that you are serving. But the industry that you actually are in is in customer service. You're in the contact center industry. And the reason I think it's really important to make that distinction, and y'all sound off in the comments, I really think it's important to make that distinction is because one of the points of the show is we want to make contact, we want to normalize contact center and make it more visible, because I don't believe you can be what you can't see, right? I think it's really important that we normalize the contact center, leaders in contact center space, so that when children all over the world are asked the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? The reason they're saying doctors and lawyers and football players and artists, the reason they say that is because that's something that they can actually see. And so they can aspire to be it. Well, contact center has been transformative in my life and changed the trajectory of my life. And so I want the youth and other people to know how impactful contact center can be. And it is a career choice. It's not somewhere that you should just fall into like most people do. And it's like what I did. I fell into workforce management via the contact center space. And I only think so many times how much further I could be if I was intentional about it and had guidance and mentorship. And so that's why I'm always super grateful for the mentorship and the leaders and the people that pour into me now, is because it helps accelerate your path. So when we think about acceleration in the realm of contact center, I'm talking about customer experience, employee experience. And you already know I can't be the WFM girl without caring about workforce management, because that's my jam. Anyway, y'all know I'll get on my soapbox and start talking forever, but this show is not about me. It's about the guest that I'm going to be introducing in a second. But before my guest comes on and we turn all the way up, let me give y'all some housekeeping. You already know, drop in the comments in the chat where you're tuning in from. Y'all already know how I feel about creepers, okay? If you are here, virtual has made us so easily able to disengage and not be engaged. Well, I want to engage with you, right? I'm not just talking because I don't have nothing else to do. It's so many other things I could be doing than here, right? But I want to engage with you. And so if you're here, let me know. Say, hey girl, hey, or something, like let me know you're here. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And let me know something that you want to cover as a topic on the show. Like what are some of the hot topics that you're like, hey, did you hear about this? Sometimes y'all send me like little contact center clippings and news, like, cause y'all was all over Southwest when the Southwest debacle happened. My inbox could not stay clear. Like, hey, have you seen this? I was like, y'all petty. Okay. Y'all is petty. But anyway, send me the topics that y'all want to talk about, because I want to talk about them with you and get your take on it. Okay. Up and coming news as far as events. You guys know we are a workforce management consulting firm, and we train on Variant. We train our customers on the Variant platform all the time. So we have a professional services arm that does Variant training. So if you are leveraging Variant, make sure that you're coming to our free lunch and learns. They are free, right? So like if you're challenged with a particular feature or something like that, like, hey, I can't get this to work, or oh my God, I wish I know how to work this better. Come to our Lunch and Learns, go to the website, see when the next Lunch and Learn is. Also, I'm always somewhere speaking. Next up and coming event, I believe that I'm going to be speaking at on workforce management or contact center. Is going to be at Zoomtopia. It's in October. But again, you can see that on the website as well. So if you go to solidrockco.net and peruse the site, I believe it's under live events. Okay, so make sure that you go there and check out where in the world is Juanita. Okay, not Carmen, Juanita. Okay, make sure we keep the names right. All right, anyway, I'm showing my age. All right, but without further ado, I'm super, super excited to welcome our next guest, Chris Mccormack. Chris, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. You could be anywhere in the world and you're a busy man. So I appreciate you taking the time to interview with me today.
Well, I'm super excited to be here, Juanita. Thanks for having me. And, you are showing your age, but with the Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, but brings back the feels and the memories for me as well. So thanks for bringing that up.
I know people ask me, when I tell them, people ask me, how did you get started in the contact center space or different things like that? And I tell them, well, I picked up a Blue Pumpkin book. People are like, how old are you again? Or certain things that I just say, right? Like they're like, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? They're like, wait, how old are you again? Like, I thought you were like, 20 or 19 or something. I'm like, stop playing, first of all, but anyway, yeah, I'm always showing my age. But so, Chris, I have been so excited to get this show, get this interview with you. So I want to hop right in and I want to be respectful of the people's time. So again, y'all, let us know where you're tuning in from. And if you have questions, make sure you put those in the chat. But Chris, tell the people a little bit more about you. The whole point of Call Center Chronicles is really to get to know CX leaders more, people who are leaders in the space, and normalizing the space so people can be more aware, right, of what's going on in the space.
Yeah, certainly, Juanita. And I loved your comment earlier around, looking at the call center as an industry, because most of us don't just go, what'd you go to college for? Oh, I went to college to work at a call center. But yet, although no one really says that, that is a norm, right? That's a starting point to leap in. And, and although I definitely did not go to college to work at a call center, over my career, that's where we end up. At the core of who I am, I love operational excellence. I love lean processing. I love helping people get better at what they do through data and, working in around the benefits industry, both at a healthcare company and a financial company over my career, and some other sidebar stuff that we might get into as well, right? It really revolves around, just how do we make things better for the people that are working? Because then ultimately they're that front line that services our customers. So, I'm just really excited about being able to constantly learn and evolve in that space. So whether it's where I'm at now or I'm going to be tomorrow, right, at the end of the day, as long as we can make processes better, allow people to be the best that they can be, at the end of the day, deliver that service to our customers, I'll be happy regardless of whatever the domain knowledge is in that contact center.
I love that, because I was just saying to someone else, I believe that contact center is an industry itself. And I believe that it's a career, you should be able to go to school for contact center. Because there's so many different ways that your career can develop, and there's so many different skills that are developed out of contact center. And I think if there was an intentional path when it came to contact center, people would be more intentional. I can't even talk, right? They would be more intentional about picking contact center as a career, and which would fundamentally shape the product, which is customer experience, right? The customer service, that's the product. And so I think if we were more intentional about the path, it would shape the product or the service customer experience, which would also have a byproduct on the types of technology that comes, right? Like right now we're it's the inverse. People are falling into the career. And so they're kind of like, okay, yeah, I think this is what we should do. And I think this is the technology that we need to serve this market. Is very unintentional.
Yeah, 100%. When you think about the staff that you have and that kind of, you hear me refer to it, it's the village, right? It takes a village to do the job that we're trying to do. When you think about it, those that start in the front line have experiences that are irreplaceable anywhere else, right? Mm-hmm. So as you know, I lead a quality organization, and you can teach the quality skills. Like, what are some inputs? How should you think? But to really teach that core feeling of, I really want to help this customer. I want to go above and beyond. I'm waking up today to come in to make a difference in someone else's life. That's not necessarily a trainable skill. That's something that's inside of someone. And when you have that and you feel that, and then build upon those skills as you look at your career path and your development, right? That passion and drive to help someone just drives you to where you're going next. And again, whether it's in any particular domain of what you're doing, retail, healthcare, banking, whatever it's going to be, at the end of the day, if you want to make someone's life better through, helping them, those skills that you can build upon just starts to drive that career versus just, hey, let me jump in and be in quality, or jump in and be the head of some operational group, right? If you don't experience that and feel that, it's harder to really, execute it and inspire upon it.
Yeah, no, that's all nuggets, right? Like, you have to be able to really feel that thing, right? You see, I feel it, right? Like, you got to feel that thing to be able to, a lot of times, be able to have the empathy of like, okay, this is why I need to make impact here, and this is how I'm going to take extreme ownership of this thing. People ask me this question as well. Well, we'll get to that, because we won't even get to the show. I told you, Chris, like, we won't even get to the show. Tell me about your path. Tell me about your path to where you are now.
Yep. So we'll go a little fun fact, in case you're ever like in a trivia contest about my past, right? So I actually started in school as pre-veterinary. Then I realized very quickly I am not very good at chemistry or any of some of the physics parts of it. So that changed very quickly. But I ended up graduating with an animal science degree. Why? I don't know. It was what I was doing. It was what was going on, right? I'm like, that's what I'm going to be. But it was my last semester of my senior year, and I was working with one of my professors, and he had a connection at a company and got me a job. So this is awesome. I'm going to graduate. I already have a job. I have one class left to take, and it was great. And I just kind of went into that role. And the reason why I bring that up is I really start with the core around networking. You work hard, right? You try to make the world a better place. And I did that. And I worked hard with this professor, and it led to my first opportunity. From there, it just continued to steamroll. Like, when that role, that company, unfortunately, didn't survive some of the tech boom back in the day. But a phone call from a friend, hey, there's another company that's starting up. Let's go here. And I spent 18 years at that organization, and every role I had, I didn't really seek it out. It was more of, I'm just being me. I'm doing cool things. I'm having that growth. And then ultimately, the next opportunity, hey, I know you're doing this over here, but can you do this over here now? Because we really need that help, and we really need to grow that space. And that has just continued through my entire career. It's just really, if I do good things and I just continue to work hard, value your teams, value your family, your village, right? And not necessarily chase your title or chase your role. Don't get me wrong. Title, role, money, right? Those are all cool things, but don't chase them. Just be you. Be the authentic, genuine you. Do amazing things, and the rest will come with it.
Chris, you about to make me run in here, okay? You about to make me run. Listen, because I say this all the time. Pay is a byproduct of purpose. If you chase purpose, pay will come. I've never had to chase pay because I'm always chasing purpose. It's something that, and again, I'm not saying, I like I said, like you said, and I agree with you. Yeah, title is amazing, and we need money to survive. So I'm not saying you don't, right? But I'm saying what you're saying, which is chase purpose. Find things that really inspire you and that you can sink your teeth into, and the things that add value, and how you can help people, because when you do that, I'm a firm believer, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll always get what you want. If you can help enough people, if you can inspire enough people, if you can find purpose in what you're doing, pay is going to be a byproduct of that. It's just going to happen. And so I absolutely, again, you're gonna make me run, Chris. That leads me right into my next question. We were talking and you were talking about that, like how as a leader in leading teams, you've many times have pulled on your team to use them or pull out skill sets in them that they didn't even really like they were doing it, but it was like, oh, I didn't realize this was an actual career path or a thing. Tell me about times that you've witnessed leveraging or people have made lateral moves or have been promoted or have found completely new career paths because their leader has pulled out an untapped skill.
Yeah, and we talk about you need pay, and pay is exciting, but there is nothing more rewarding than seeing someone that kind of a young new person in their career, or when I say young, I don't necessarily mean age wise. I mean young in the role they're in. Yeah, and they're trying, they're new, right? And they're breaking out there, and to be able to watch them try things. And I'll give an example. We'll call this person John. That's not really the name, so I'm protecting the innocent here, or the guilty. I don't want to protect them. I'm protecting someone. But, so I remember coming into a role, and, John here was just kind of, a basic processor. But I know John loved to, in their free time, dabble with Excel and dabble with, learning pivots and YouTube videos. Not how I like to spend my free time usually, right? Because that stuff make my brain hurt. But like,
you like rocking out concerts.
For 3 hours. I'm like, wow, that was a fun night. So I remember like coming in one day and I'm looking at something, and long story short, I'm looking at someone doing something manually where they're looking at data on one side, looking at data on the other side, and I'm like, hey John, do you think you could figure out how to make this all work so we could push a button and it can magically just do all the compares? And it took a job that was like 6 hours times, we had to do it like 40, 50 times down to 30 seconds with a control report, right? So the efficiency saves are great, don't get me wrong. But what I love about that was John now does coding for a living. Like 6 months later, right, evaluation, more stuff, build out, and now that's John's job. And John loves it, and John continues to grow. And that's just one of those many stories. Everyone thinks, oh, well, this is our role. We have to stay in our box. And don't get me wrong. There's table stakes, if you will, right? There's things you have to do to stay, in your lane for a point. But if you have people on your team that desire to do things differently, then let's try it. Let's not be afraid to fail. Let's support it. And, although I hate to see people go, I just love seeing people get that next career step that they never even thought of. Never even thought of to be able to do that. And that, to me, is the most rewarding part of my day.
Yeah. Like seeing people thrive. It's one of the things that keeps me going and keeps me being resilient. Talk about resiliency, like especially as a business owner, entrepreneur, it's hard. It can be very tough, and then it's, especially when you move from being a solopreneur to, having employees and having company, like it can be tough. But one of the things that keeps me so always centers me back is what you just said, right? Seeing that person thrive and as a leader, that it's the thing, right? It's the thing for me for sure. Talk to me a little bit, Chris, about transferable skills. And, as we're talking about, really developing leaders and what it takes as a leader to develop leaders, how have those transferable skills, been applicable not only in your role where you currently are, but in other places? How have you used being able to pull out skills in other people and operational excellence, as you talked about a little bit earlier? How have you leveraged that in other industries and other places and throughout your life?
No, it's a great question, and one that you really have to kind of hone in that act of bringing those transferable skills. So when you think about when you first start your career early on, domain expertise becomes important because you're coming in, you're still learning, your toolkit's not that full, and I'm trying to learn these skills, but I also need to learn the domain knowledge so I can be an expert. And, you rely on that domain knowledge. I know my job. I know what I'm doing. and I'm going to be good at that. But over time, as you want to develop, more often than not, that domain knowledge becomes irrelevant. And now you have to rely, right? Like I think about where I'm at now in my career. I have no clue, right, down to the weeds of the domain knowledge, because I didn't, as I say, I didn't grow up in this particular domain knowledge. I have some from back in the day when I first started out there, but I'm not necessarily the domain expert. But what makes it successful is taking these transferable skills wherever I go, continuing to build them, helping others that are, where I was years ago and starting building them up, but also looking at others that are where I want to be and building that toolkit. And for me, when I think about, again, quality is kind of my main domain right now, it doesn't matter what I'm doing quality for, whether it's contact center or an operation, whether it's like a bakery, a retail store, whatever. There's inputs, there's outputs. How do we take the skills and bring it together? So as I give advice to anyone that's out there, right, it's good to be a subject matter expert, right? It's good. It's good to know what you're doing. But ask yourself, do you also have the skills to do something different and fast tomorrow and still achieve the same exact results? Because if the answer is no, then maybe you want to sharpen that saw and build it up. If the answer is yes, then great. And think about, because not only do you want to build up your skills, changing domains isn't bad either, because you start learning different things. You're constantly learning. Well, maybe I know this, and it's great. I'd like to know that. If you're working in a contact center and you have a back office, maybe you go there for a little bit and learn how that works as well. I know contact centers in your heart. Right? I don't want to shy away from that. But it's not only about having those skills, but having how do you apply that to different areas to know that it can apply across the board? Because then the world's your ocean, right? Wherever you want to go, whatever you want to do. Doesn't matter if I don't know what you actually do from a domain perspective. I got the skills. They'll make us successful.
Yeah, like you dropped a whole bar right there. Like you just dropped some bombs. Like, oh my gosh, that was so good. It took everything in me to not interrupt you while you're talking, because that was so good. What I heard you say was, if you're not as good as you think you are, then you need to be better, because then you can use those transferable skills other places, or that skill set other places. So it's less about the domain, which is why again, I'm always talking about contact center as an industry, and not necessarily because, again, a lot of times people think about when, like, say, for example, you are in the contact center in a healthcare company, or you're in a contact center in a hospitality company or a retail company. People generally say, oh, I'm in retail, oh, I'm in technology. Yeah, you serve the technology industry, but you're in contact center. And the reason I think that is so important is because then you can hone that skill, the skills that you're developing in contact center around operations, around workforce management, around whatever that skill is that you're honing, because then you can make that skill applicable to anything, right? Regardless of whether you switch domains. Right. We were actually on the last show just talking about this. We had someone that switched domains. Right. They were in insurance and then moved over to an airline company, but they were in the same skill. And because they understood the skill, while they didn't have the airline experience, they had the skill. And so they can make that skill work anywhere, And so I think that's so important that you just said that.
And let's be honest. I mean, these are skills that are part of life. I know you and I connected before this. Like, I'm doing data analytics for an 11-year-old football team for my son's, team, right? Why? Because A, it's kind of fun. And B, it's because it's being a differentiator for us, right? It's just, no matter what you're doing, these skills, yes, it's your work. Yes, it's your job, but you can apply them, to anything you're trying to accomplish at home, projects, whatever it is. I mean, it's your toolkit. It doesn't say, oh, you have to use your toolkit from 8 to 4:30 every day, and that's it, and then put the toolkit away, and now you have to be something different, right?
Right.
Use these to make not only, the people that your village at work, but your village at home, your family, your friends, make lives better by using your toolkits.
Absolutely. Well, Chris, I want to, when we were at Varon Engage, I missed... You were telling me that I missed something epic. What did I tell the people what I missed that I did not know about you?
Oh, we're going here now. Okay. So in a prior life, one of my is music, playing multiple instruments, but I also do, my favorite thing is singing and being in front of a band and all that. So for those that were at and very engaged that may have seen this, I may or may not have been on the stage at the Rock and Bowl doing a couple songs, singing, and living my best rock star life for 3.5 minutes at a time.
I love that because I am a music head crazy. I told you that I absolutely love music. I love writing. I love singing. And I think it's something about the artistic nature that allows you to kind of thrive in spaces that require creativity, which is why I asked you that question. Tell me, do you think that there's any interplay? Do you think that, because I have to get really creative a lot of times. And while I'm not, on stage singing or, in people's meeting, like, oh yeah, I'm being very lyrical, I do have to a lot of times think very creatively and out of the box. And that has, talk about transferable skills, that has served me well as a business owner and as a leader. What about you? Do you think your ability to get on stage and be creative and sing and do the whole artist thing has served you in your career in any kind of way?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go with this with kind of two parts. First, it makes me smile and I enjoy doing it because I watch other people smile and have a good time. I'm not afraid to, like, if someone says, hey, can you dress up in this cow costume and go dance on stage, right? Or do the chicken dance in a full chicken costume. I'm the first one to say, sure, let's do it. Why? Because it makes people happy. And if people are happy and people are smiling, the world is a better place.
Absolutely.
Right? Even if it's at my expense, right? And sometimes, there's no shame in the game to do that, right? But the other part of this, where as you're talking about music as a passion, obviously it's my life, it's my passion. But when you think about music around us, it's really the only universal language that we have. It's the only thing that, for the majority of people, right? Certain things will trigger emotions like nothing else. A song that brings back a memory. Certain things that you don't even know if it, for those music geeks out there, minor chords make you feel a little sad. Yes. Major chords make you feel super happy. It's one of those things where, people put on this music to go work out. I hate working out, but I'll put this song on and I'm going to run 5 miles. Not me, by the way. No.
It don't work for you. It don't work for you, Craig.
Even like before this session, I had about like 15 minutes. Let me throw a couple, songs that make me happy and just kind of get me pumped up, right? And then sometimes I'm trying to relax because, as you can probably imagine, my brain never shuts off. So you got the slow playlist that brings that mind down. So when I think about music and even think about what we do day in and day out, it's the constant language that can, motivate or relate us. Like how many times you've been to someone and that you're total opposites. But then a song comes on, like, I like this song. Well, I like this song. And it just brings people together. And, if we can revolve around that, it's absolutely an amazing thing.
Yeah, maybe for ERG, we should have an employee resource group for those that are not familiar with that. We should have like some kind of music group, something like that for music heads in the contact center or something like that. I think that would be so cool.
Take it on the road. We're gonna ban.
Hey! Don't threaten me, okay? Don't threaten me with a good time, okay? Listen, I want to ask you this question: what career advice do you have for someone who is wanting to? They found themselves, because again, many times we say this: I fell into contact center, or I fell into this role, I fell into workforce management. And I really want to normalize being very intentional about contact center and in the space. What career advice would you have for someone who's in contact center and they're like, man, I'm trying to get out of contact center? Because people sometimes think that contact center is where their career goes to die, when it's really, for me, is where my career came alive. I found so many opportunities in contact center. What career advice would you have for somebody that's looking to really thrive in their career and they don't know if contact center is that thing or not?
Yep. So I think the first thing is you do have to decide, is contact center, and even not just contact center, the roles or responsibilities that you have in your particular space in that contact center, is that what you want to do? Because I always tell people, like, don't know if this role is right for me. I might want another role. I'm like, well, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I don't mean like, don't give me a title. Don't even give me necessarily, like a domain. Like, what do you want to do? What do you enjoy doing when you come in? Is it talking to people? Is it coding Excel spreadsheets? Like, what is it that you love to do? So first and foremost, define what you love to do. Now you have that path. Now, as we talked about, how do you get to try more of that? Where are you good at what you're doing? Where are the deficiencies? How do you ask for a mentor, right? Many times, you have your leader, your boss, if you will. I hate that term, but, we use that in this terms here. But, you have your direct manager and say, can I have a mentor? And it's no offense to that boss, but there's different roles, responsibilities. They help them grow, but get another mentor, help them build that out. But at the end of the day, if you're trying to say, this is what I love to do, these are the skills that I need to do that, build those up, and then again, do them well. I have not really applied for necessarily, for lack of better terms, chased a role, right? In a long time, it's just been, I'm just going to do things that I love, and opportunity will open up. So if you're thinking, I'm in the contact center, I'm never going to get out of here, right? That's on you and your self-development to say, help me bring those skills. Give me a mentor to do that, but have that path for what you want to do and be out of that. Because again, that domain knowledge will start to really pay dividends for where we go next. Because if you're a back office, if you're going to quality, if you're going to be a performance coach, if you're going to, potentially be a leader someday, although you do rely on those skills, you have to have some of that domain knowledge and the proven ability that I know you know nothing about this, but I know you can do it. Yeah. And that's what's going to carry you to that next space.
Oh, I love that. I know you know nothing about this, but I know you can do it because you have the track record of performance.
Correct.
That's good. Whew. Ooh, you're gonna make me run. This is the one thing I hate about Call Center Chronicles is I gotta sit here. I can't just do my, dance and move around. No, I love talking to y'all. I just hate that y'all be dropping so many good nuggets and bombs. I can't move. Or the show would not happen. It would not happen. No. What's next for you, Chris? What's something that you're excited about? Whether it is the industry, technology, just what you're doing in your personal life. What's something that's exciting you right now?
For me, it's trying to see two things. Number one, where is the technology going? So where's AI going? Because there's so many different takes on it. Is this the robot uprising? Is this Terminator? Is this the end? There's so much cool technology that's out there, and trying to figure out how and what we apply in our space. And that's in my workspace, that's in my non-workspace. What can I do on my phone? Can Siri cook dinner for me, please? So what can it do, right? And one of my favorite quotes is when we think about automation and everyone thinks that, this is the, robot uprising, humans spend too much time finding problems and not enough time solving them. Think about the automation. And when I look at this in our world, right, I would love for the automation to be customized and smart enough to find out what's going on. Now, that doesn't eliminate the human element, but it changes the paradigm of what they're looking at. And that means if we have the data telling us the what, here's what's going on, here's what's wrong, we can then focus on the why. Because too often without the automation, we only get the what. Here's what we're seeing, here's what's happening, but we don't have time for the why because we got to go back and rinse and repeat to continue to figure out more what. So first and foremost is automation and trying to figure out that what so we can get the humans into the why. But here's the core, right? Why are we doing this? Because we want to stay ahead of what the next customer journey is. As we think about the pandemic and we kind of came into this new normal, and and I'm going to steal a quote from a good friend of mine, so I'm not taking credit for this, but she didn't call it the new normal, she called it the next normal. And as I'm looking at this world we're living in right now, a lot of companies, expense crunches, chaos, different apps, work at home, go back to work, maybe go back to work some days, right? All around, every day you're hearing about different things coming on, changing company names, right? We're now, I feel, in the next normal, right? We're beyond the pandemic, next normal, and we're in this new next normal. And as we think about what are our customers going to need, what are our employees going to need, what are you going to need to not only work, but, provide for your family and you do things differently and all that. And for me, bringing this all back together, we need the data to tell us the what, because we really need the human element and the smarts and the brains to figure out that why, so we know what our customers need before they actually need it, so we can stay ahead of that curve. And that's really where I thrive. That's why I wake up every day and come into work, right? Not only the amazing people that I work with every day, but how do we take this tech, customize it to what we really need to figure out the why, determine the why, to ultimately at the end of the day, give our customers what they want before they even know they want it.
Yeah, and performing what you said, the next normal. I love that. I absolutely love that. I mean, so many great nuggets. Chris, I knew we were going to be at the bottom of our time. I knew we weren't going to get to a fraction of our show. I already predicted that. That's because I'm a forecaster at heart, right? I predicted that. But we got to definitely have you back on, and I want to be respectful of your time and our audience's time. Listen, hang out with me in the green room really quickly. I'm going to wrap the show, and then I'll come back over to you. But thank you again for being on the show.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Great time.
Absolutely. Oh my God, so many nuggets. One of the things that I absolutely loved the most was leveraging those transferable skills, chasing purpose. I can't articulate how he said it exactly, how Chris said it exactly, but it resulted to chasing purpose, right? Like finding that thing that you're good at it, that you want to develop, and pay being a byproduct of that. Right. I think that that's so important that you do that, being intentional about what you're doing. And then where we ended with about the next normal. I love that as well, because I think we're always evolving. We're always changing. And so being able to adapt to what's next and what is in front of us is really important. And so many good nuggets. Y'all sound off in the chats. Let me know, what was one thing you took from the show? What do you want to talk about next? Make sure that you go and visit the site to learn about what events we have coming up next and where I'm going to be speaking at next. I cannot wait to connect with you. Until next time, go be great, guys. Bye.